Part 40. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 391. Daddy. Li Chen lay on the bed and let Li Biwu step on his back. The main thing is that the little girl is not heavy either. Li Zifeng was helping Li Chen massage his leg muscles. Papa, can you please show me your appearance? Li Biwu stepped awkwardly. Xiao Wu is great. Hoo-ho. After stepping on it for a while, Li Biwu lay on Li Chen's back and said coquettishly, Kesu, the Yin family is so tired. Li Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just say it if you're lazy. After only stepping on it for a while, you say you are tired. Look how diligent your sister is. How comfortable the massage is. Murong Shui, who walked in from outside, shook her head helplessly after seeing this scene. Isn't this just the big laziness making the little lazier? Xiao Wu. Ang, Li Biwu sat up from Li Chen's back and looked at Murong Shui. Go and sleep with your sister. Li Biwu immediately got down, hugged Li Chen, and said, I won't. Murong Shui blew her hair and said, You want to steal my husband again. Introduction to my husband. Li Biwu tilted his head and said to Murong Shui. Li Zifeng, who was still massaging Li Chen's legs, said, You have a big tongue. You're the one who tilted your head. Big tongue. Big tilted head, Li Biwu shouted angrily, Ignore you. Li Chen laughed. Daddy. Let's ignore them, oh. After saying that, he hugged Li Chen, asked Li Chen to hold him tighter, and finally looked at Murong Shui. Murong Shui, who had just finished blow-drying her hair, said helplessly, What, you still want to join forces with your little lover to bully me? Li Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can't blame me. She might not stick to me tomorrow. Seeing her good daughter hugging Li Chen tightly and not letting go, Murong Shui was helpless and could only sleep in the bed next to her with Li Zifeng. Li Biwu immediately shrank into Li Chen's arms and turned to face Li Chen. Daddy. Li Biwu spoke quietly, his voice not sounding like a whisper as always. What's wrong? Li Chen also imitated and said quietly. Murong Shui and Li Zifeng, who were lying next to them, quietly pricked up their ears. Will you like Xiao Wu? Meeting. What about Mom? Mom also likes Xiao Wu. Then, does Daddy like Xiao Duo? Yes. He. Li Biwu came close to Li Chen's face and smacked at Li Chen, then will Daddy buy toys for Xiao Wu? Daddy. Call. Papa. Li Biwu's little face was next to Li Chen's and said, Will you buy it for Xiao Wu? Li Chen opened his eyes and heard laughter coming from behind. He never expected that he would be tricked by Xiao Wu. Good. Li Biwu moved excitedly, and Li Chen quickly held it down and said, Don't move. Go to bed quickly, or Daddy and Mom will go to bed later. No, Li Biwu hugged Li Chen, It's mine. Then go to sleep. Okay. Childish, Murong Shui turned over, feeling sour in her heart. Mom, Li Zifeng gently hugged Murong Shui and said, You still have me. Yes, Mom and you, let's ignore that heartless Xiao Wu. Li Zifeng. Why are you still jealous? The afterglow of the morning sun shines down. It's already bright outside the window. Li Chen glanced at Xiao Wu, who was holding him with one hand on his mouth, drooling, and one leg on his belly, and gently moved her away. Looking at the teeth marks and saliva on his hand, Li Chen took out a tissue and wiped it. Is this snack food dreaming about food again last night? Since my physique has changed, my body has become fragrant and smoother. It's no wonder that Xiao Wu prefers to stick to him. It's no wonder that she dreams about delicious and fragrant food. Bah. Li Biwu's little hands were scratching randomly. It was obvious that she didn't feel safe without Dad's hands. Li Chen stuffed a pillow over and asked Li Biwu to grab it before quietly getting up. Murong Shui also happened to wake up. The rules of life in rural areas are simple, and it is not difficult to get up early. Li Chen opened his hands and gave Murong Shui a big hug. Huh, Murong Shui didn't appreciate it. What's wrong? Are you still jealous of Xiao Wu? I'm not jealous, Murong Shui snorted, someone only has his daughter in his eyes, and there is no place for me. Hearing this, Li Chen couldn't help but laugh and hugged Murong Shui tighter. What about this? Not enough. Li Chen let go, held Murong Shui's little face with both hands, and then kissed her. Murong Shui was surprised and happy, and gave Li Chen a gentle hammer. The child was still sleeping. It wasn't until the kiss was suffocating that Li Chen let go and said, "Is this enough?" Murong Shui's pretty, plain face was covered with a touch of red clouds, and her ears were all red. The passionate kiss just now made her a little weak and her whole body became hot. This feeling is amazing. It's okay. Murong Shui didn't dare to look at Li Chen's fiery eyes, and her voice was as low as a mosquito buzzing. It's just barely okay? Then let's do it again. Li Chen teased. Hearing this, Murong Shui was so scared that she quickly pushed Li Chen away. I won't pay attention to you. After saying that, she fled from the room. Seeing this, Li Chen smiled immediately. In a place where her children can't see her, Murong Shui is actually just a little girl. After Li Chen left, Li Zifeng, who was lying on the side, quietly opened one eye, then took out her mobile phone and said, brother, dad and mom, degree. Are like this. What? Take a picture. Are you stupid? How dare I take a sneak shot? But I peeked. Xiao Wu is not here. Xiao Wu is still dreaming about eating meat. Li Zifeng typed with a smile, brother, when will you come back? Soon. No more talking, Grandpa asked me to go to study morning lessons. Okay, you have to take good care of yourself, understand? I'm Jideo. Putting down the phone, Li Zifeng fell asleep again, hoping that his brother would come back soon. Shui. Murong Xiu didn't dare to look at Li Chen, she was afraid that Li Chen would force him again. What, Murong Xiu was about to comb her hair. Let me help you, Li Chen hugged Murong Xiu from behind, his voice gentle. Murong Xiu's hands trembled, thinking of Li Chen's hair combing skills that couldn't be any worse, and hurriedly said, No, you go out quickly, wait until I finish combing, let's go to work together. Li Chen was a little bored, he felt that his hair combing skills had improved a lot. It seems that I can only let Xiao and Xiaofeng practice for me. Otherwise, it's a big loss if I can't do such a romantic thing as combing my wife's hair. Let's go, I'm ready. Murong Xiu only applied a little sunscreen today, and didn't even put on makeup. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 392. Li Chen. Li Peng and his team had arrived early. I have prepared the things, and the exchange rate is still the original, Li Chen pointed to the two large boxes next to him and said. Okay, Li Peng was overjoyed and quickly asked people to take the vitality water away. What are you doing? Let's go and see if we can save the sea of flowers, Li Chen smiled. Okay, let's get busy first, Li Peng waved. Li Chen took the straw hat and put it on Murong Shui. Murong Shui, who was originally fair-skinned, looked even more playful after wearing the straw hat. The two of them carried the tools and went straight to the flower planting area. The mornings in the countryside are always busy. When Li Chen walked on the country road with tools in one hand and Murong Shui in the other, he often met people who greeted him. Brother Dalong. Good morning. Lin Dalong looked up and saw Li Chen and Murong Shui. Juanzi, who was harvesting weeds nearby, couldn't help but look over. The couple was stunned when they saw this. They swore that they had never seen a woman as beautiful as Murong Shui. After a moment of distraction, Lin Dalong realized that he was so impolite, and said with a red face, "Good morning. This is my wife, Murong Shui." Li Chen smiled and said, "This is Lin Dalong, brother Dalong, and this is sister-in-law. They helped me a lot before." "Hello, brother Dalong." "Hello, sister-in-law." "Hey, hey, good." Juanzi also came back to her senses, and said with some surprise and uncertainty, "Brother-in-law, is she a big star?" Murong Shui also wanted to integrate into this environment, so she took the initiative to talk. "In the past, she was." "Ah, I remember, Murong Shui, it's you, right?" Juanzi danced excitedly, "Very excited, I've seen the movie you acted in." Li Chen looked dazed. "Murong Shui, so many fans." Murong Shui was pulled by Juanzi, with a smile on her face, listening to Juanzi's story. As for Lin Dalong and Li Chen, they were smoking quietly on the side. When the woman of his family is talking non-stop, the man can't interrupt. "Hey, look at my mouth, you guys go and get busy." "Okay, then sister-in-law will come to our house with brother Dalong when she is free in the future. The two families should visit more often. Bring Ching Ching with you." "Okay, okay. Brother Dalong, we're leaving first." Murong Shui waved to the couple, and then took the dazed Li Chen away. "What's wrong?" Li Chen said in astonishment, "I never expected that my wife would integrate so quickly. I thought." "Humph." Murong Shui pinched Li Chen's mouth with a proud face and said, "You still think I'm arrogant and can't bear hardships? Can't stand the countryside? Think I'm high and mighty? And you think?" Li Chen didn't allow her to continue, and kissed her directly. Murong Shui's mind was instantly emptied by this kiss. "You are so annoying. Someone is watching us." Murong Shui's face was red like a monkey's butt. She had long forgotten to find fault with Li Chen. Juanzi looked at Murong Shui and Li Chen with envy as they left, saying, "I didn't expect Li Chen's wife to be such a big star." "Yes," Lin Dalong sighed. "Are you envious?" "What are you envious of?" "No matter how beautiful other people's wives are they as beautiful as mine?" "Really?" Lin Dalong buried his head in his work. Juanzi's tan skin couldn't help but blush shyly. Although Lin Dalong is simple and honest, his skills in talking are really good. "Very good." Juanzi looked at the backs of the two people leaving and said, "It's completely different from the big stars who are arrogant." Okay, Li Chen is not blind, and the wife he found must be a good match. "Hurry up and work, you go to bed early." "I know. By the way, I think your skin is a little dry. Let's buy cosmetics when we get back, okay?" Hee, husband, you are quite good at handling things." "Sea of flowers. The growth is a little uneven. But it's not a big problem." Li Chen exchanged some vitality water from the system. "The sea of flowers is not very big, but it still takes some time to water them all." These flowers were bought by Li Chen before, and the varieties are a bit messy. Planting them is not so particular. Murong Shui is in a good mood, especially when she is not with the children. She will not feel bored when she is with Li Chen. The two slowly trimmed the flowers and removed all those that were no longer savable. As for the remaining flowers, they were sprinkled with diluted vitality water. After a day or two, they almost had life and vitality. When the bright sunshine fell, Murong Shui, who was standing near the east area, was bathed in the golden sunshine, and she looked indescribably beautiful. Li Chen took out his mobile phone and recorded a beautiful screen for his wife. Murong Shui is an actor after all, so she is naturally quite sensitive to the camera. Moreover, she is also good at capturing angles and postures. Even if it is just watering a bush, it is a beautiful picture. Li Chen did not want to miss this beautiful scene, and Murong Shui was willing to bloom for Li Chen. "Is it beautiful, Murong Shue asked. It looks good. I should have put on makeup earlier. Li Chen's heart tightened, and he said, the natural beauty is still the most beautiful without makeup. Hearing this, Murong Shue smiled immediately, stood in the flowers, and pecked Li Chen. Let's go, we still have to clean up the house today, and then build the tent. It will probably take some time to build the new house. Li Chen stretched out his hand, held Murong Shue's little hand and said, if you are not used to living here, let's go to the town. I have also bought a house in the town. It's okay for me. Murong Shue held Li Chen's big hand tightly and said, don't accommodate me. I am not that hard-working. This is our family's common home. I want to contribute and watch it be built step by step. Okay, Li Chen nodded. After the two returned home, Grandpa had already called people to move things. In the countryside, building a new house is a big deal. Grandpa went to ask several relatives of the Li family to come and help early in the morning. The great-grandfather's family, Uncle Li Penjiun Dingman, and the eldest brother Li Chengwan cleaned Humian, and even the eldest nephew Li Junhao came. The second grandfather and the third grandfather's family also arrived early. Because they had to demolish the old house, they had to build a tent outside. This was not difficult for Li Chen. The family prepared a lot of wood, first built the frame, and then began to cover the outside with a thick layer of plastic film. Dad, Dad! Li Biwu's shouting came, and Murong Shue hurried into the house. The little girl was probably shocked to see so many people. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 393. Mom. Li Biwu pouted and hugged Murong Xue's neck tightly. When she woke up, the house was emptied and there were so many people talking. Li Biwu thought she was abandoned. Don't cry, Murong Xue hugged Li Biwu and wiped her tears. Where's Dad? Dad is moving. A new house is being built here. Murong Xue patted Li Biwu's back and explained softly. What's the big house? Diamond sued. Yes, a big house, a super big house. Murong Xue smiled and said, Dad built it for you. Dear, Li Biwu wiped her tears with the back of her hand and said, I want to help too. Hearing this, Murong Xue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What can you do to help? I. Li Biwu rolled his eyes for a long time, and saw that Miss Li Siyi was also helping to move small things, so he said, I can move things too. Murong Xue smiled and nodded, okay, then let's go wash our faces first, okay. Yeah, hurry up, Li Biwu had completely forgotten that he was scared and cried just now. After Murong Xue put on clothes and washed her face with the little guy in her arms, she immediately got off the ground. Seeing that Li Zifeng, Li Junhao, Li Siyi, and Li Zilai were all helping to move small things, Li Biwu also rushed over. Grandpa, Li Biwu ran to Li Chuanlong and said excitedly, Xiao is also moving things. Li Chuanlong was immediately happy to hear this, really? Then our Xiao is so amazing. Li Biwu's face was flushed when he was praised. Then Xiao, can you help Grandpa move these little things out? Yes. Li Biwu took it carefully, and her little face flushed a little. Murong Xue wanted to come over to help, but Li Biwu stubbornly avoided her. A person moved slowly in the dark. Sometimes, children don't want to make trouble, and they even really want to help adults. It's just that they are small and weak, so it seems to have the opposite effect. But the Li family is a little weird. Not to mention being arrogant, they also like to tease children. When Li Zixin saw the fierce Li Biwu, her face turned red. She said, Xiao, do you need your aunt's help? No, Li Biwu said with a breath, Xiao can. Wow, Our Xiao is so powerful. Yan Zhenkai, the second sister-in-law on the side, couldn't help but praise her when she saw this. Children are like this, when you recognize her, she will be particularly confident. Li Biwu, who was about to give up, was so happy when she heard the continuous praise. She moved the thing to the designated place. Give it to me. Li Nanfei took it and put it away gently. Stupid Xiao Wu. Seeing the stupid sister's face flushed and sweating, Li Nanfei cursed her with disdain while wiping Li Biwu's sweat. Xiao Wu is not stupid. Li Biwu looked at Li Nanfei angrily. Stupid Li Nanfei took out a small apron from the side and tied it carefully for Li Biwu. Shall we compete? Humph. I'm not afraid of 3 pots. I'm also very good, Li Xiaoliu said loudly. Xiao Wu is still very good. You see, I can move big things, but Xiao Wu can only move small things. Li Junhao was panting while holding the big object. A group of adults saw it and laughed in their hearts. When everyone only praised Xiao Wu, the other children must be unconvinced. They are all children, and they all want to be praised. Perhaps, the adults don't really want the children to help, and it's good enough if they don't make trouble. But, they also like to tease children. Just like now, the original relationship between the families was that they all cared about each other in their hearts, but never said it verbally. But now, because of the children, the relationship between them has suddenly become closer. So, moving, which should have been boring, has become fun. Children are smart, but they are still children after all. When Li Biwu becomes a shining version, even Li Nanfei will be jealous. One by one, they competed in moving things, which was particularly exciting. Of course, the final result was that all the children were praised. Li Chen used his own strength to quickly build 2 large tents. There is a lot of land in the countryside, and the weather is hot now, so the ground is burnt yellow and hot. Therefore, the speed of construction is also very fast. After all, he has a wife now, so he still has to live with Murong Shui at night. The tent is very big, covering an area of 30 to 40 square meters, which is not small. Grandpa's big tent is mainly used to store objects and his bed. Li Chen only put 2 beds here. It is enough to hang a mosquito net outside. At noon, the construction team had arrived. The leader is Yan Liangjun, and there are more than 40 people coming here, close to 50 people. In the team building houses in the countryside, it is definitely a super large number. Generally speaking, except for the beginning, a house with more than a dozen people is very large. With 50 people working together, it can be said that the speed is naturally flying. Li Chen received Yan Liangjun. For Yan Liangjun, this time is not just as simple as doing business. Because he has heard some news, he dare not neglect it. Fortunately, the area near Li Chen's house is large enough, and there are many parking spaces. Li Chen also built a huge tent for rest and stacking materials, invited them to sit down, and began to discuss the design of the house. These are all professionals, and then Li Chen called several children and Murong Shui over. Originally, Li Chuanlong was also asked to come over to give his opinions, but Li Chuanlong directly said that he and Shui would handle it. So, how to design and build the house became Murong Shui and several children. Li Chen did not interrupt, he was the same as his grandfather, it didn't matter. As long as Murong Shui and the children like it, it's fine. Grandpa went to cook, after all, a large family of people helped here, and they had to have a meal. After about an hour and a half of discussion, the design was finally finalized. This is a large house with a classical style, and it has added a modern style. It can be said that it is very much like a large garden-style mansion. Then the designers started to make the design on the spot, and Li Chen went to help his grandfather and them cook. It feels completely different to do it yourself in your own house. Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu were happier than Li Chen had imagined. Their enthusiasm for finally owning a big house was much higher than when they bought the house. Even Murong Shui has been participating in the discussion. As for spending money, Li Chen only said one sentence: design boldly and use the best materials. Mrs. Li, then let's finalize this according to your wishes. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 394. Until the evening, after several revisions, the final design drawings were finally finalized. There is no doubt that there is enough time. After all, today we just move all the things and clear all the things. Tomorrow we will demolish the house. Murongxiu smiled and nodded, thank you for your hard work. Not hard, not hard, Yan Liangjun led people to say, the rest of the materials. My husband will decide on this, Murongxiu said immediately. Li Chen, who just walked in with Li Biwu and Li Nanfei, couldn't help but straighten his chest after hearing Murongxiu's words. Can you calculate the preliminary budget? Okay. Yan Liangjun's side has people preparing, according to your requirements. In addition to the main red bricks, the rest are mostly alloy structures, plus bulletproof glass. So the cost will go up. The best choices for cement, steel bars, sandstone, floor tiles, etc. are all in this table, and the general prices are not too different. Li Chen looked at the computer quotation in front of him, and the final estimate was just over 2 million. This house covers a large area, and it also has a garage in the basement and a large courtyard at the back. Just over 2 million, this is just the basic cost of materials, not counting the rest of the labor. Because this team has nearly 50 people, and the weather is good, if you want to move in quickly, you can naturally make some requests. Not bad, Li Chen said, then let's follow the standard first. Okay, Yan Liangjun nodded repeatedly. He didn't dare to cheat Li Chen, so he took people away. In the evening, everyone in the Li family had not yet dispersed. Brother and sister-in-law, second brother and sister-in-law, can I discuss something with you? Li Chengwang, Humian, Li Feichen, and Yan Zhenkai all looked at Li Chen. Cooking is a big problem in the coming days. If you two families can help, just cook for our family. You only need to cook. I will contract out the rest of the work, Li Chen said. You cook 2 meals a day for these people, 200 per day. Ahem, Uncle Li Penjiun coughed and said with a straight face, when will it be your turn to count these? Li Chen was confused. Cooking is not a difficult task, and you still count money. What's wrong? Are you really taking yourself out of the Li family? Li Penjiun said with a straight face. Li Chen didn't know whether to cry or laugh when he heard this. It was obviously a sentence to bring each other closer, but in the mouths of the Li family, it always changed its taste. According to the uncle's meaning, helping to cook is a favor. Counting money means not treating them as family members. No wonder Li Penjiun was unhappy. Uncle, it's true that we are a family, but aren't we all busy? Li Chen said bitterly. Brothers should be clear about the bills, not to mention that it's not so easy to prepare meals for more than 50 people. I think it's too little to charge 100 per person a day. Uncle, what Li Chen said makes sense. Murong Shui stood up and said, our family is also too busy, and cooking is also a hard job. It is precisely because we treat you as a family that we don't ask others for help. What do you think, Aunt? Ding Min saw Murong Shui winking at her, and immediately pushed Uncle Li Penjiun and said, since Xiao Chen and Xiaoxiu said so, why are you still frowning? We are all family. Xiao Chen has to pay for others to cook. If we let others come, we are still worried about our own family, so it's better to do it ourselves. Seeing that her aunt was helping her, Murong Shui quietly gave Ding Min a thumbs up, and the latter made an okay gesture. Li Penjiun was a little embarrassed and snorted, it's up to you. Anyway, if you have more money, I have no objection. Li Chen and his eldest brother Li Chengwang and second brother Li Feichen looked at each other and smiled bitterly. The Li family really needs to change this problem. The uncle wanted to help Li Chen save money, but the way he spoke made people feel weird. Okay, let's say it this way, Li Chen smiled. By the way, sister, brother-in-law, you have to come and help us do some work. Li Chen looked at Li Zixin and Zhang Fan again. Okay. Working is the easiest way to bring the family closer together, and Li Chen didn't intend to miss the opportunity. Since we have decided to live here, well, if we can't maintain the relationship between our family members, what's the point of living? In the evening, the family sat together again, drank some wine, talked about family matters for a while, and then dispersed. Before leaving, the three families all hoped that Murong Shui would take the children to sleep there. Anyway, there was room at home. Murong Shui declined, saying that it was not considered hardship, and she was willing to accompany Li Chen. This attracted the elders of the Li family, who praised him constantly and taught Li Chen to treat his wife, son, and daughter well. If he dared to bully them, he would be in trouble. Here, Li Chen had the lowest generation, and he had no right to refute the elders. What's more, these relatives were all sharp-tongued but kind-hearted. They might be very harsh on Li Chen, but if they really thought Li Chen was in trouble, they would come over immediately. Ouch! Ouch! Is it frivolous? Comfortable? Li Chuanlong laughed. Li Biwu's massage was not called massage, but tickling. After taking a bath, Li Biwu had to give her great-grandfather a hand, which made Li Chuanlong laugh non-stop. The fleshy little hands pinched Li Chuanlong and made him feel uncomfortable. Okay, okay, Li Chuanlong picked up Xiao Wu and said, Grandpa is very comfortable. Li Biwu leaned on Li Chuanlong and pointed at the stars in the sky and said, What are those? Stars. What are stars? Stars are stars in outer space, you can imagine them as small stones. Will small stones spend all their energy? Small stones don't glow, that's just the effect of the sun, making us feel that they are glowing. Are you comfortable? Li Zifeng asked. Comfortable? Much more comfortable than Xiao Wu's massage. Li Chen nodded. Li Zifeng immediately said happily, then I will give you massages often in the future, okay? Okay, Li Chen smiled and said, Xiao Feng is still the best. Flatterer, Li Nanfei, who was shrinking in the corner, snorted. Li Chen glanced at Li Nanfei, who was squatting in a horse stance and was not convinced, and said, Go and coax your mother first, then talk to me. I said I didn't mean it. Besides, it was Xiao Wu who wanted to apply it. Li Nanfei was not convinced. You broke the lipstick, didn't you? Yes, Li Nanfei gritted his teeth. Then am I wrong to punish you? Li Nanfei sighed. It's totally unjust. At this time, Murong Shui had come in and said to Li Nanfei, who was still squatting, Okay, okay, go to bed. Li Nanfei looked at Murong Shui in surprise and said, Are you not angry anymore? Murong Shui patted Li Nanfei's butt, Don't play double game with your dad here. Your dad punished you in advance because he was afraid that I would beat you up. Get out. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 395. Li Nanfei and Li Chen looked at each other and blinked. Mom is so smart. What should I do? Ahaha. Li Chen laughed awkwardly and said, Why don't you thank your dear mother? Thank you, dear, kind, gentle, super universe's #1 beauty mother, for not taking my fault into account. For Li Nanfei, flattering is as easy as drinking water. Get out. Okay, Li Nanfei immediately ran away. Although she knew that Murong Xue would probably not punish herself. But she still had to express her attitude and pretend to do it. Li Nanfei and Li Chuanlong slept without any discomfort. On the contrary, they were very comfortable because Xiao's sleeping posture was really unbearable for him. Li Chen. Murongxiu immediately walked to the door, watched Li Chuanlong come over with the already sleeping Li Biwu, and gently took it. Li Chuanlong took Li Nanfei to another tent to sleep. Li Chen lit 3 plates of mosquito coils, mainly placed around the small beds of Li Biwu and Li Zifeng, and he placed 1 plate on his side. There are a lot of mosquitoes, rats and ants in summer, especially at night, which can really be described as overflowing. They moved out again, so it goes without saying. Li Chen and Murongxue lay down, and now there is no air conditioning, it is still very hot. And now, there is only an electric fan facing them, which will become very hot. If you don't sleep well tonight, let's go to town. Now that the road has been repaired, it won't be too far to go to town. Let's try it first. Murongxue did not refuse. It's not suitable to hug and sleep at this time, after all, it's very hot. Even if the electric fan blows, it's still very hot. Li Chen quietly circulated his internal force to expel his own heat, and at the same time paid attention to Li Biwu and Li Zifeng. Obviously, this ghost weather is still too hot for the 2 little guys. Li Chen sighed and decided to take them to the new house in town to sleep tomorrow night. It's already there, and they can move in directly. This was done by Shen Yanqing, who was preparing for this day. Early morning. There were already a lot of noises outside, mainly from the construction team and the building team. The eldest brother and his wife and the second brother and his wife also came early. Each family gets 200 yuan a day, and the work is not heavy, so they dare not be late. When Li Chen got up, he found that the weather was not so hot. However, Murongxue and Li Biwu were sweating, so Li Chen could only take out a dry towel and wipe Li Biwu gently. This little guy actually found prickly heat, so it seems that he can't sleep here tonight. When Li Chen finished, Murongxue also woke up slightly, and her face was a little haggard. Awake? Yeah, Murongxue looked sleepy. Li Chen walked up to her gently, held her charming little face, and kissed her. Thank you for your hard work. Murongxue's eyes were full of smiles, and she gently hugged Li Chen, humming, "It's not hard." Hearing this, Li Chen's mood was slightly disturbed. He knew that Murongxue was not used to it, but for herself and for this family, she silently endured it. Murongxue slept very late last night, and he knew it, but neither of them would expose it. Let's take Grandpa to the town to rest tonight, Li Chen said, and saw that Murongxue was about to refuse again. I'll arrange it. Murongxue looked at Li Chen with burning eyes, her eyes were full of love, and whispered, Brother Chen. Li Chen felt a little numb. Brother Chen. Gradually, the voice began to act like a spoiled child. Li Chen was a little overwhelmed, and Murongxue deliberately blew in his ears, which was simply torture. Brother Chen. Murongxue smiled, looking at Li Chen's somewhat stiff body, and her smile became even stronger, I like you so much. At this moment, Li Chen was soft. He always thought that Murongxue would not act like a spoiled child. But he never expected that this act of spoiled childishness would be fatal. What's wrong with her so early in the morning? Mom. Murongxue, who looked very proud, suddenly froze, as if she had been struck by lightning, and let go of Li Chen as if she had been electrocuted. Murongxue wanted to die, her face flushed, and she just wanted to find a hole in the ground to crawl into. How did Xiao Wu wake up? How could she wake up? Murongxue was mad in her heart, and she wanted to find a quilt to cover her head, but the problem was who would cover her head with a quilt in this hot weather. When Murongxue thought of her spoiled and arrogant appearance being seen by her little daughter, she wanted to jump off the building. If there was a building here. Xiao Wu. Murongxue tried her best to maintain the dignity and momentum of a mother. Li Chen squatted aside and tried to hold back his laughter. You teased me, but now it's over. Li Biwu looked at Murongxue in a daze, pouting her little mouth and said, It's hot, hug. Glancing at Li Chen, who was still laughing, Murong Shui glared at him fiercely, then got off the bed to hug Li Biwu. She also pointed the fan at Li Biwu and said, "Is it still hot?" "Hoo." Murong Shui. Looking at her little daughter, who was breathing evenly again, Murong Shui glanced at Li Zifeng, who was lying on her side without moving, feeling more guilty. "Xiao Feng." Murong Shui called softly, tentatively. Li Zifeng didn't move. Murong Shui called twice more, but there was still no response. Seeing this, Murong Shui let out a sigh of relief. It's better that the eldest daughter didn't hear it. Murong Shui gently put Li Biwu down and used 3 fans to blow on her so that it would not get too hot. "It's all your fault." Murong Shui gave Li Chen a charming look and gave Li Chen a small fist blow. "How can you blame me?" Li Chen expressed his injustice and whispered, "Get out." Murong Shui blushed and let Li Chen hold her hand and walk out of the big tent. Just as the two of them walked out, Li Zifeng turned over with a strange smile on his face. Big brother, the latest information. Oh my god, I really didn't expect my mother to be such a person." Brother, sister-in-law. Morning after Murong Shui and Li Chen came out, they happened to see Li Chengwang and Hu Mian picking vegetables, so they greeted them. "Morning." Hu Mian looked up with a smile and said in surprise, "Aren't you used to sleeping?" "Yes, a little." "I'm just telling you, why don't you sleep at my house tonight?" "There are many beds there," Hu Mian said. "What can I do if I can't sleep well when I'm raising a child?" Seeing his sister-in-law chatting with his wife, Li Chen moved closer to Li Chengwang and helped pick vegetables together. Catering for 50 or 60 people is definitely not an easy task. "What do you do?" "Ah," Li Chen looked at his elder brother Li Chengwang in confusion. "Are you really going to let people sleep in a tent? The tent is already hot and there are a lot of mosquitoes. Isn't this torture?" "What? No money? Why don't you speak when you have no money? What do you think you can do?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 396. Li Chen had a dull look on his face. He didn't expect that he would be scolded for doing this. The key point is that he could hear that his elder brother seemed to be disappointed with him and felt that he had not done his job well. "No, elder brother," Shui volunteered. "You know shit," Li Chengwang scolded with disdain. Li Chen. "Brother, you are really going too far." Shui said, "It's okay, so it's okay? Look at this haggard face, what do you think? Your wife started to accommodate you, can't you take the initiative?" Li Chengwang taught him with disappointment. "She can think of you in every way, which means that this woman takes you to heart and doesn't make things difficult for you. Here, I follow your rules, you can't take it for granted." Li Chen was stunned, he really had never thought about this problem. Seeing that Li Chen had come to his senses, Li Chengwang was very pleased and said, "I'm not encouraging you to praise women highly. Marriage, after all, is a matter between two people and two families. Sometimes, men should be as careful and proactive as possible. She is willing to sacrifice for you, but you can't take it for granted, right?" "Yes," Li Chen nodded. "So, you are in the hot period now, that's okay, but what if you reach the stable period and pass the period?" Li Chen fell into deep thought. "In love, it's a two-way rush," she responded, "and you have to release the message you received, so that the relationship can last, do you understand?" Li Chengwang sighed, "I thought you were a veteran in the flower field? You are also a novice in love." "Who is a novice?" "Brother, I don't like what you said," Li Chen argued with a flushed face. "Hey, you're still not happy?" Li Chengwang's face was full of sneers and contempt, making Li Chen want to beat him up. "Why are all the Li family members like this? Do you have any money? I'll help you with some, Li Chen Wang said. No need, I have it. He he. Li Chen Wang sneered, don't bother. Li Chen widened his eyes. Is it that all the Li family members are like this? Li Chen looked at his elder brother Li Chen Wang with a disdainful expression, but he couldn't help it in his heart. You forced me to do this. Although you are doing this for my own good, I, your brother, really can't stand your sarcastic face. Sister-in-law. Just now, my elder brother said he wanted to lend me 1,000 yuan so that I could open a hotel, Li Chen shouted at the top of his voice. Li Chen Wang, who was full of disdain and sarcasm, suddenly stiffened his face and looked at Li Chen with wide eyes. He never expected that this cousin would be so black-bellied. He turned around and sold himself. Wife, this is all a misunderstanding, hey, misunderstanding, misunderstanding. Seeing Hu Mian grabbing Li Chen Wang to enforce the family law, Li Chen was very relieved. It's rare to see a loyal and lovely young man like me, Li Chen. What's going on? Asked the second brother Li Feichen, who just brought a lot of dishes. Nothing, my elder brother humiliated me, so I let my elder sister-in-law teach him a lesson, Li Chen laughed. Li Feichen looked Li Chen up and down, then silently took the dishes and walked away from Li Chen. Li Chen. What do you mean? It seems that you, my second brother, also hid private money. Yan Liangjun has already organized people to prepare to demolish the house. Now the women are preparing dishes and cooking downstairs, while the men are preparing to start demolishing the house. Construction vehicles are approaching the house. It is still very troublesome to demolish a house like this in the countryside. It won't be pushed down directly like in the city. Because some things are still needed. Come on, a few people, set up the ladder. Be careful, everyone, wear your safety helmets. Everything is ready, then start removing the tiles. Li Chen and his grandfather also helped on the side. Of course, since the work has been contracted out, there is nothing to do. Around the eaves, workers who have set up ladders began to go up to the roof to take tiles. Each person is about 1 meter apart, and then the person at the top begins to pick tiles from the top down. Finally, they are sent down one by one. Because Yan Liangjun's construction team has nearly 50 people, the speed is naturally very fast. The black tiles were neatly stacked in one place. These tiles are almost rare now, and the main ones used are organic tiles. At this time, Li Nanfei had already stood up and came to Li Chen with a mess of hair. Dad, comb my hair, Li Nanfei shouted. Li Chen's hands were covered with water, and then he scratched Li Nanfei's head. When the chicken coop was no longer a chicken coop, Li Chen clapped his hands and signaled that it was done. After arriving in the countryside, Li Nanfei seemed to have let himself go. He used to pay great attention to his hairstyle, but now he turns a blind eye to it, as long as it looks good. Hold me. Li Chen picked up Li Nanfei, and Li Nanfei could clearly see the whole process of removing tiles. So, this is how houses are demolished in the village. I thought they were just knocked down. For Li Nanfei, this was definitely a new scene. Li Chen smiled, these people were very fast. Not long after, Li Biwu also woke up. After Murong Shui combed her hair, she shouted for a hug. After all, she saw Li Nanfei being hugged by Li Chen, and she had to have one too. Li Zifeng was already tall among her peers, so she used a bench, grabbed Li Chen's hand, and looked up. Wow, Li Zifeng exclaimed. Li Biwu also exclaimed like her sister, although she didn't know why her second sister exclaimed. The speed of removing the tiles was very fast, and the house in Li Chen's hometown was indeed not very big, so not much time was wasted. What was exposed inside were long and narrow wooden boards and beams. Dong dong. The knocking sound was heard, and they began to dismantle the wooden boards, and the people below hid far away. Because there are nails and other things on them, you have to be very careful. Once you step on them, you may step through the soles of your feet. Dad, are these useful? Li Zifeng pointed to the black wooden boards and asked. Some are useful, but most of them are useless. Li Chen smiled and said, the materials used now are all new materials, so these old ones will be discarded. Will the wall be demolished later? Li Zifeng said with a gleam in his eyes. Of course. Li Chen hugged Li Zifeng and said, oh, our Xiaofeng is almost as tall as daddy. Li Zifeng heard this and immediately stood on tiptoe and said, now she is. No, no, don't grow so tall. What if you can't find a boyfriend in the future? Li Chen scratched Li Zifeng's little nose and teased. Li Zifeng. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 397. Xiao, is it delicious? Second sister-in-law Yan Zhenkai sat next to Li Biwu, and she was filled with maternal love when she saw this little baby. Good, Li Biwu squinted her eyes and swung her legs happily. Yan Zhenkai was so cute that she wanted to kill this little guy. Is it the food cooked by the second aunt that is delicious, or the food cooked by your father that is delicious? Li Biwu was stunned for a moment, and then said with a giggle, both are good. Everyone laughed. They thought Li Biwu would say that Li Chen's food is delicious. Unexpectedly, this little girl didn't offend either of them. Second aunt. Li Biwu ate the food fed by Yan Zhenkai, and whispered quietly, you are so pretty. Yan Zhenkai was stunned. What does pretty mean? She said you are beautiful. Li Chen rolled his eyes. Hearing Li Chen's translation, Yan Zhenkai's face was overjoyed. Li Biwu covered her mouth and looked at her father with horror. It's so far away, how can Dad hear it? Seeing Li Biwu's silly and cute appearance, some of the grown men who were eating couldn't help but tease him. After dinner, Murong Shui followed her elder and second sisters-in-law to learn how to do housework and wash dishes. After all, she had never done these things before. Dad, Li Biwu grabbed Li Chen's hair and sat on Li Chen's neck. Li Chen looked desperate. This little girl must ride a horse. Li Nanfei looked at his stupid sister with resentment, because that was his position. He could only let his great-grandfather hold him, and then he could push the wall. In the past, when the village demolished houses, it was all manpower, with wood against the wall and everyone pushing together. But now, it has been mechanized. It's much safer. Get ready, Yan Liangjun's construction team has been arranged in place, and no one is allowed to stand around. Even if it is an earth wall, it will kill people if it really falls down. Not to mention, it is a blue brick wall. At that time, red bricks were the best, blue bricks were the second best, and earth bricks were the worst. But most of them actually only used air bricks, and those who could use blue bricks were already very good. As for red bricks, forget it, after all, there is no such condition. Especially in the village. Push. As the sound of machinery slowly sounded, the house of Li Chen's hometown finally collapsed under the powerful force of the machinery. Although the house is not big and the house is not high, when it collapsed, the sound was extremely loud. On the ground, layers of smoke and soil were rolled up. Even the ground shook slightly. This scene was the first time that Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu saw it. His Xiao Wu, Li Chen shouted. The little girl was scared and grabbed his hair for death. If this continued, he, Li Chen, would become bald. Li Biwu recovered and said excitedly, push the wall. Li Chen said with a face full of resentment, shouldn't you comfort your father? Oh, hoo. Li Biwu gently lowered his head and blew perfunctorily on Li Chen's head. Li Chen. He. Li Zifeng couldn't help laughing. Building a new house is the most tiring, but also the happiest. Because it is all-inclusive, the most tiring part is almost omitted. Li Chen helped with some things, while Murong Shui and the others brought their children. Children like Li Zilai would also come over to play with Li Biwu and Li Zifeng. After the house was pushed down, the soil and rocks needed to be crushed and then cleaned up. Drilling machines and other things have started to operate, and the noise is deafening. The foundation is dug, and then the lime and other materials are transported. Because an underground garage needs to be built, the foundation must be very deep. Materials such as lime and coal slag have also been delivered to the site one after another. Li Chen and his friends all saw the construction of a house for the first time, and they were all very interested. A large number of machines were involved, and the whole process was extremely fast. In the previous manpower era, it might take half a month to dig a foundation. Laying the foundation is a matter that cannot be sloppy. Moreover, after the ground foundation is compacted, lime and other things must be laid, mainly to prevent moisture and absorb moisture. After laying several layers repeatedly, a layer of plastic film will be laid on the top, and finally a cement isolation layer will be laid. The whole process was very fast, and people were overwhelmed. In the afternoon, Li Chen called Shen Yanqing and asked him to send someone to pick him up. I bought so many cars in the capital, but I didn't buy one. Now in the countryside, although sports cars cannot be driven, the rest of the cars are still fine. Murong Shui stayed here to get acquainted with the Li family. And Li Chen was going to the town to prepare things first and then buy a new car. Dad, Li Biwu saw that Li Chen was going to drive out, so she hurried to go. I want to go too, Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng said. Uncle, can we go? Li Zialiu, Li Siyi, and Li Junhao all looked at Li Chen. These 6 children were playing together now, so they naturally didn't want to separate. Get in the car, Li Chen said with a smile. Li Junhao and the others were overjoyed. They had always been unfamiliar and afraid of this uncle. But after getting to know each other, they found that Li Chen was easy to talk to and liked children, so they became bolder. As the eldest brother, Li Junhao was not too old, but he was still quite sensible. Xiaofei, you and your sister sit in the front. Xiao, can I hold you? Sure, Li Biwu was not picky. There were just 4 children sitting in the back row, and Li Chen did not interrupt the whole time. Unexpectedly, Li Junhao had a very clear mind. Li Chen drove straight to the town, which was much more lively than before. Mr. Li. Okay, drive the car back first, Li Chen threw 500 yuan to the 2 drivers. Thank you, Mr. Li. The 2 drivers were overjoyed. They never expected that they would get 500 yuan just by driving a car here. Ding, detecting the host's consumption, 50 times the rebate has been triggered, and 25,000 has been received. Li Chen looked at so many children and had a headache. Junhao, Siyi, you 2 are the oldest, can you take good care of your younger siblings? Yes, the 2 little guys nodded obediently. Come on, first accompany me to buy a car, and then I will buy you food. When they heard that there was food, the children's eyes lit up. Although it was just a small town, there were quite a few car dealerships. Of course, most of them were second-hand cars. Li Chen spent a long time choosing and finally chose a car priced at about 500,000. In the end, including everything, the total cost was 554,173. This is already the best car that can be selected in the town and can be driven away on the spot. Ding, detecting the host's consumption, a 50-fold rebate has been triggered, and 27,708,650 has been received. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 398. Li Chen glanced at the system, it was already 12 billion. Not bad. When the house is built this time, it is estimated that his wealth will usher in another explosive growth. After a while, the money from the Ye family and the Pan family will enter his account, and Haowen KTV is clearing its finances, and then it will be another huge sum of money. In addition, Qingxiu Film and Television Company is now recruiting investors for filing. When these things are prepared, the new company's banquet will be held, and several movies will be announced. The heroine of the movie is naturally Murong Shui. Of course, Li Nanfei will also participate. Li Chen intends to use money to force Murong Shui's comeback battle to be a big deal. Whether it is investment or other things, make it the best in the industry. He doesn't believe it. Of course, the script must be carefully selected. First, Li Chen didn't want Murong Shui to completely give up her hobbies. Second, he also wanted Murong Shui and Li Nanfei to appear in this scene. The cooperation between the queen of the movie and the emperor of the movie, mother and son, will be very interesting. Of course, Li Chen also made some money in the end. He built momentum for his wife and son, and the money went into his wife and son's accounts. In the end, he also made money, killing two birds with one stone. After buying a new car, Li Chen saw Shen Yanqing standing outside waiting for him. Shen Yanqing's aura as a strong woman is undoubtedly extremely strong. Mr. Li. Shen Yanqing only smiled slightly when she saw Li Chen. This woman is much more attractive. Here is your property certificate and key. Shen Yanqing handed over the prepared things. Thank you. Li Chen took it with a smile. Xiao, Xiaofei, do you still remember your aunt? Shen Yanqing smiled immediately when she saw Li Biwu and Li Nanfei. Aunt Chen. Li Biwu gave Shen Yanqing a big hug. You've become prettier again. Shen Yanqing couldn't help but feel happy when she heard that. Xiao Wu is getting cuter and cuter. Shen Yanqing smiled and pinched Li Biwu's little face. Li Nanfei politely said hello, which forced Li Junhao and the others to say hello as well. Li Zifeng looked at Shen Yanqing with hostility. Xiao Feng, this is Aunt Shen Yanqing. Li Chen introduced. Shen Yanqing was stunned and looked at Li Zifeng, who was more beautiful than Xiao Wu. Hello, Aunt Chen. Li Zifeng immediately smiled and said, my dad always said that Aunt Chen was beautiful and kind, and was his most capable assistant. Today I found out that my dad was actually modest. Seeing the little beauty Li Zifeng in front of her saying these words with a smile on her face, Shen Yanqing's eyes slightly condensed. This little girl is asserting her sovereignty. Shen Yanqing didn't expect that she would be warned by a little girl, and then squatted down and said, that's your father's praise. Li Zifeng still smiled, and couldn't deny it. But your father is right, Auntie is just his assistant. Hearing this, Li Zifeng was slightly startled and said, he, Aunt Chen has worked hard, then invite Aunt Chen to our house for dinner, okay. Of course. Shen Yanqing smiled. Li Chen glanced at Li Zifeng and Shen Yanqing, and said nothing. The two women, one big and one small, have already finished the confrontation. Shen Yanqing stated her position, and Li Zifeng was naturally relieved and wanted to get closer. Although she is just a child, she has been in the atmosphere of Murong's family for a long time. How could she still be a simple child? Although she felt that Shen Yanqing could not threaten her mother's position, she had to ask clearly. Now it seems that Aunt Chen has a clear positioning of herself, so she is naturally happy. Then I'll go back first, Mr. Li. Okay. Li Chen watched Shen Yanqing leave, and then slapped Li Zifeng on the forehead. Li Zifeng wrinkled her nose. Don't think like that anymore, understand? Children should behave like children. Li Chen pinched Li Zifeng's nose and shook it left and right. Humph! Li Zifeng snorted proudly, pushing Li Chen and said, you said you would buy us food. When they heard about buying food, Li Junhao and the others' eyes lit up. Li Chen smiled and said, get in the car, I'll treat you today, buy as much as you want. The 6 children cheered and jumped, but they were a little noisy. Li Chen took them straight to the supermarket, and in a word, they could choose whatever they wanted. How much they could take away depended on their ability. Li Chen followed the 6 little brats slowly and leisurely. Li Junhao, Li Siyi, and Li Zilai were not as presumptuous as Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei and Li Biwu. Maybe they were not familiar with this uncle, or maybe they were embarrassed, so the three of them only took a little bit. Compared with Li Biwu who swept all the way, these three children were just good kids. Sister Xiaolu, Sister Siyi, hurry up and choose. Li Zifeng leaned over and said, don't be embarrassed. Li Siyi and Li Xiaolu blushed a little, and it can be seen that the two girls really want to eat. Li Junhao's eyes looked at the toys from time to time. Li Nanfei and him agreed on this point. Xiaolu, Siyi, come here. Li Chen waved his hand, and the two little girls shouted shyly, Uncle. Do you want to eat? The two girls looked at each other and nodded. Today is my uncle's treat, don't worry about what your parents will say. Okay. Li Chen touched the two little girls' heads and said, you two are older sisters and very obedient, so my uncle will give you a task now, that is, let's fill up this car today, okay? Ah. Go ahead, take your sister Xiaofeng to choose. Li Xiaoliu and Li Siyi's pretty faces flushed, but they couldn't resist the temptation. So, they followed Li Zifeng to join the purchasing army. Daddy, Li Biwu held Li Chen's finger and almost dragged Li Chen forward. I want this. The little girl was not tall enough, so she knew to ask her dad for help. I want this too. That one too. Hee, is this okay? In front of Li Chen, there were already 3 carts pushed. All of them belonged to Li Biwu. When Li Chen passed by Li Junhao for the 3rd time, he took down the row of toys in front of him and put them in Li Junhao's cart. What else do you want? Uncle, I can't have it. Who am I? Uncle. Yes, I'm your uncle, so now you have to listen to me, buy it. If you don't buy it, I won't take you back. Li Junhao. Xiaofei, take your brother Junhao to buy it. Okay. Li Nanfei gestured. Li Chen hugged the tired Li Biwu and said, this? What about this? This can talk to mom and dad. Li Biwu's eyes lit up and said, Da Ling Tong. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 399. Yes, it's the Da Ling Tong. Li Chen smiled and said, you can talk to your daddy in the future. Dear. Of course it's true, do you want it? Yes, 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 Li Biwu nodded like pounding garlic. Li Chen chuckled. This Da Ling Tong is actually a simplified version of the communicator, but it's still a children's version, so it can be used at home. Li Biwu already has enough things, and Li Chen doesn't plan to buy her anything. When Li Chen pushed a few shopping carts to the cashier, the staff at the cashier were dumbfounded. Li Chen said, let's do the calculation first. There are a few children over there. Let's settle the bill together later. Oh, okay. The cashier couldn't help but sneak a glance at Li Chen. She never thought that in such a place, she could actually see such a high-quality handsome guy. Her heartbeat accelerated sharply. It's a pity that this handsome guy already has a child. This is too cute. I don't know how beautiful his wife should be. The female cashier couldn't help thinking that the key point was that this man was handsome and had such good skin. He was as white and tender as his daughter in his arms, which was so enviable. Li Siyi and Li Xiaoliu were still girls after all, and they were better than Li Junhao and Li Nanfei in terms of food. These two middle school boys bought a lot of Ultraman and Gundam. Unlike Li Zifeng and the others, they bought all food, which was very honest. Of course, there were toys, but they were all furry. Li Biwu alone needed several large bags. This big supermarket had to arrange other cashiers to help, otherwise it would be really difficult to handle. Pack each child separately, Li Chen reminded. Okay. Because Li Chen bought too many things this time, it still attracted a lot of attention. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei were very considerate and let the brothers and sisters check out first. Anyway, it didn't matter for them, and they could just put them together when the time came. The sound of beeps kept ringing, and the shopping list alone was as tall as 2 Li Chens. Hello, sir, the total consumption is 12,684. After all, it's a small place, even if you shop a lot, it's only this amount. Li Chen immediately scanned the payment. Ding, detecting the host's consumption, 50 times the rebate has been triggered, 634,200 has been received. Because Li Chen shopped a lot this time, they also have a delivery service. Li Chen did not refuse, mainly because he really couldn't put it down. Li Zifeng, Li Biwu, and Li Nanfei's 3 things were all delivered to the new house. And Li Junhao, Li Xiaoliu, and Li Siyi's 3 things were put in the car by Li Chen. Li Chen took the delivery car to the new house he bought in the town, and first moved the 3 little guys and all the prepared toiletries and other supplies into it. It was the first time for Li Junhao and his friends to visit this kind of new house, and their eyes were full of curiosity. This is a 4-bedroom apartment, spacious enough. After Li Chen finished moving the things, Li Biwu immediately started to dismantle the things. Xiao Wu, Li Chen shook his head and said, "Let's go back to the village first and dismantle it in the evening, okay? Then, can I take one over to play?" Li Biwu stared at Li Chen with her big round eyes. "Aren't there still a lot of toys in the village?" Keisu, I don't like them anymore." Li Chen said helplessly, "Then you are only allowed to take one." "Okay," Li Biwu jumped up happily. In the end, Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng also took one each and followed Li Chen back to the village. At this time, it was time to finish dinner. All the workers were eating, the foundation had been dug out, and it would be done soon. Tomorrow they could start modeling and then start building. When they saw that Li Chen bought so many things for them, the 3 families refused to accept them. "Big brother, second brother, third sister, this is my little gift to them, don't refuse it," Li Chen said, "besides, it's not worth much." "But..." "No buts, I bought it for them, not for you," Li Chen urged, "hurry up and take it back, we will clean it up later." In the end, the 3 families couldn't beat Li Chen, and they still took the things back while cursing at Li Junhao and the others. After they left, Li Chuanlong said, "Not bad. It's a bit like a younger uncle." Li Chen and the others started to eat after the workers finished eating. Some food was left before, so Murong Shui and the others were not picky. The key is that everyone was busy and hungry, so the food tasted particularly delicious. "Grandpa, let's go to the new house in town to sleep tonight," Li Chen suggested. "You go, I won't go," Li Chuanlong waved his hand. "Why?" "To guard the house." "What's there to guard? No one will steal. Besides, even if someone steals, it's not worth anything," Li Chen persuaded. "Yes, Grandpa, we're just going to live there. When the house is built here, we'll come back," Murong Shui also said. "I know, but there has to be someone watching here, right?" Li Chuanlong smiled and said, "You 2 take the kids, I'm fine." Li Chen winked at Li Zifeng and the other 2. "Old people are like this. The older they get, the less they want to make trouble. Besides, I always like to keep these little things." "Grandpa," Li Zifeng pulled Li Chuanlong and said coquettishly, "Xiao Fei still wants to sleep with you." As she said that, she kicked Li Nanfei under the table. Li Nanfei's face was almost twisted in pain, and then he smiled again and said, "Grandpa, just go with us." Li Biwu, who was busy eating, looked up and saw that her second sister and Sangguo were coquettishly to Li Chuanlong, and immediately shouted without wiping her mouth, "I want it too, I want it too." Murong Shui held her forehead with one hand, at least wiped the rice grains on her mouth. "Grandpa, Xiao Wu wants it too, Xiao Wu wants it too." Although she didn't quite understand the current situation, for Li Biwu who liked to join in the fun, just joining in was enough. Three clingy babies acting coquettishly together, even a steely man couldn't stand it. Not to mention Li Chuanlong, who was heartbroken for his three precious great-grandchildren. Surrounded by the three little guys, Li Chuanlong was so happy that he couldn't stop laughing. Don't shake it, Grandpa is dizzy. Grandpa promised you that he would go with you. Hee, mew. I want it too, I want it too. Li Chen gave the three little ones a thumbs up. Sure enough, the children had to take action. After dinner, Li Chen and Murongxia cleaned up the dishes, while Li Chuanlong was 1 to 3. Yan Liangjun's work ended at 9 o'clock in the evening. Generally speaking, they would not work after dinner. But the Pei family had instructed that this matter must be done quickly but steadily, so Yan Liangjun decided to work overtime. Mr. Yan. Please stay, let's talk about something. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 400. Yan Liangjun stopped and signaled some people to go back first. He was a little nervous, thinking that Li Chen was not very satisfied with the preparations and work of the 2 days. Please sit down. Li Chen smiled and prepared tea at the same time. Yan Liangjun sat down a little nervously and said, Mr. Li, if you have anything, just tell me. If you are not satisfied, I will definitely change it. Hearing this, Li Chen smiled and waved his hand and said, You misunderstood, I am very satisfied. Yan Liangjun breathed a sigh of relief and said, What is it? It's like this. I am relatively lazy and don't want to calculate some things. Since I have given you full authority and you are sent by Jiangnan, you are naturally trustworthy. Li Chen said, Next, if I need to purchase anything, I only need an invoice and a receipt. Now I will transfer 2 million to you first. As for how much is left, I will summarize and make up for it for you at that time. How about it? Yan Liangjun was stunned. Is this really not going to care? But this also has an advantage, that is, they can do it boldly next. However, there are also problems. The 2 million is not transferred randomly. If Li Chen is dissatisfied or makes mistakes in the later stage, it will be Yan Liangjun's fault. But generally speaking, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. As long as there is no problem on his side, there will be no problem in the later stage. After a slight balance, Yan Liangjun said, Please rest assured, Mr. Li, I promise there will be no problem. That's good. Li Chen transferred the money directly. As for whether there will be a certain profit and rebate in the middle, Li Chen was too lazy to think about it. There must be, but it's just a matter of how much you make. What's more, a horse can't grow fat without night grass. Yan Liangjun led people to work overtime until 9 o'clock. Just based on this, Li Chen can also let him make a little money. What's more, he doesn't care so much about this little money. The most important thing is that everyone cooperates happily. Soon, Li Chen transferred 2 million, which must be spent next. Li Chen is not really ignorant of the market situation, he still knows something. Of course there is a possibility of making money, but it will definitely not be too much. He can accept it. Then I will go back first. Yan Liangjun immediately stood up and said. Be careful. Li Chen stood up and watched Yan Liangjun leave. Ding, detecting the host's consumption, 50 times the rebate has been triggered, 100 million has been received. Li Chen glanced at the system, then stood up and began to pack up the tent. Grandpa, everything is packed. Then let's go, Li Chuanlong said, holding Li Zifeng and Li Biwu. Li Chen and Murongxue sat in the front, and Li Biwu and the other two followed Li Chuanlong and sat in the back. It was thanks to the cement road that the village had been connected, otherwise it might not be reliable to drive to the town. When they arrived at the new house, the father and son, Li Chuanlong held a few little guys down. Li Chen opened the door and said, Grandpa, you go wash up first, and Shuer and I will pack up. Okay. As soon as they got home, Li Biwu and Li Nanfei were no longer sleeping. He immediately rushed in and started to take apart the toys. Once a child starts to play, it is impossible to stop him. In the end, Li Zifeng had to take a bath first. Xiao Wu, Murong Shue's face looked familiar and said, "You are not allowed to play for a while, understand?" "Okay," Li Biwu agreed quickly, and then giggled. "What are you laughing at?" Li Biwu said mysteriously, "Dad bought me a big lingtong." Big lingtong, Murong Shue was confused. "What big lingtong?" Li Biwu took it out to show off, shook it and said, "Dad said that this rich man is amazing." Seeing this, Murong Shue was speechless. "I only know the small lingtong." Humph, Li Biwu didn't intend to pay attention to Murong Shue alone. "Here, give one to Mom." Li Biwu heard this and looked at Murong Shue warily and said, then you have to give it back to me later." Tisk, Murong Shue laughed. This little girl is still worried that he won't give it back to her later? Putting one of the two into Murong Shue's hand, Li Biwu ran to the sofa and said, Mom, please reply if you get it." "Oh wow. Murong Shue." Li Biwu saw Murong Shue's face full of disgust, so he said again, "Mom, press it once, send it." "Got it?" Murong Shue replied with a smile and pressed the talk button. However, Li Biwu was obviously not satisfied, so he slid down the sofa again, ran over, and said, "You are not right, you still have to say oh wow." Murong Shue. Puff, Li Nanfei, who was playing Ultraman, couldn't help but sneer. When Murong Shue's cold eyes swept over, Li Nanfei immediately lowered his head and pretended not to see it. "I was actually despised by my son and daughter." Murong Shue had no choice but to say, "Got it, over." Hearing that Mom could use it, Li Biwu happily ran over and lay down, saying, "Daddy bought me a lot of good stuff, I want some Daodu." Oh wow. Woof woof. Daodu, who was lying on the side, immediately pricked up his ears and wailed at Li Biwu. "Little master, how can you eat Daodu?" Li Biwu looked at Daodu who was dawdling beside him, and quickly touched Daodu's head and said, "It's not you. Be good, lie down." "Ah." Daodu immediately showed a humane smile and continued lying next to Li Biwu's sofa. "As long as the little master doesn't eat beans, it'll be fine." Hey, I want the second best, ow. Murong Shue stared at Li Biwu with unkind eyes. "Kesu, daddies are all from Jiangzi." Oh wow. Seeing Li Biwu looking at him pitifully, Murong Shue took a deep breath. She shouldn't have taken this crap. So, she had no choice but to get up and help Li Biwu get food. "Go take a shower after eating." "You want to say wow? Do you want to eat or not?" "Time." Li Biwu immediately took it. Oh wow. Murong Shue's head hurt when she heard this oh wow. Why did Li Chen buy so many weird toys for this little girl? "Li Biwu, you have to take a shower after eating this, do you hear me?" Murong Shue held the walkie-talkie and stared sharply at Xiao Wu, who was sticking her butt out and deliberately not looking at her. After thinking for a while, he added, "Over." As a result, Li Biwu pretended not to hear, and Murong Shue was so angry that she stood up and beat him up. "Mom, I've washed it." "Go quickly." Li Zifeng stared at her wet hair and shouted. Li Chuanlong came out with a hair dryer, and Murong Shue had to wash it by herself first, and then come out to clean up Xiao Wu later. As soon as Murong Shue left, Li Biwu immediately started playing with Li Nanfei. "3 pots and 3 pots. If you find anything, please give me a reply." Oh wow. Received, over. I don't want to take a shower, ow. Then you're dead. Mom just wanted to beat you, over.